Have you ever thought about franchising your cleaning business? You might have. I get this question a lot from different house cleaners who have decided that they want to franchise their business as they grow and scale. And then they ask, what do I do next? Well, I don't actually know. And so I'm super excited today that we have a specialist on our show, Dori Stewart Consulting. And she started out as a teacher and then she franchised her business into a multi-million-dollar global brand. And I'm super excited just to ask some questions. And so, this being the show where you get to ask me a house cleaning question and I give you the answer, today we're going to flip the script and I'm going to be the one asking the questions. So, with that, please help me welcome Dori Stewart.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Well, thank you. Now, you started out as a teacher and then you switched and you became an entrepreneur and you grew this great big monster global brand. Tell us about that. How did that all come about?
Yeah, sure. So I was a high school engineering teacher for 11 years. And throughout that time, I had my own children. And when they started getting excited about engineering, I started looking for programs for elementary age kids. Couldn't find any, started my own business. And a few years into it, I started getting people from all over the world asking if they could buy my curriculum or if I would bring the programs to their area. And after doing a lot of research into different business models on how to scale my business, I found that franchising was the best business model to grow my business. And fast forward 10 years later, I grew it to 165 locations in 35 countries, reaching over a million students.
Oh my goodness, that is huge. So you didn't just start from being a teacher to now having a global brand. There had to be some steps along the way. What did you have to do to get yourself ready? And then I want to ask, what did you have to do to get your business ready?
Sure. So the first thing I did was I started my local business. So I had that for a few years. And it wasn't until it was super successful enough that I had people asking me about bringing the business to their hometown. And so when I decided to start growing my business through franchising, there was a lot that I had to do to get the business ready for it. And so there are a lot of policies and procedures and systems that you have to have put in place because basically you are handing your business over to someone else to duplicate exactly what you did in your hometown. And so that is the most time consuming part. And it took me about a year to get all of my systems in place, get everything that was in my head out and into manuals so that I could teach other business owners how to implement what I had created.
And so did you use a piece of software to document all that stuff, or did you use like legal pads, or what was your process?
Oh my goodness. So, well, at first it was kind of all over the place, but I ended up using Microsoft Word to put everything in documents. This was, back in 2008, 2009. So there wasn't a lot of fancy software available to do that with. But I also, because it was education and I was offering programs, I had a lot more than just putting my business procedures in documents. I also had to put all of my curriculum in documents, and teachers, we sometimes just we know what we know and we just do what we do. And so getting all of that down on paper, it was a lengthy process.
Being a teacher and having a curriculum is one set of skills, and turning around and selling your business to other people and teaching them how to run that is a completely different set of skills. How did you get from being a teacher to then turning around and teaching other people? Because there's a responsibility that comes there once you sell the business, right?
A huge responsibility. And I took it one step at a time. With each stage of growth came new challenges and new, things to accomplish. And so if I had looked at the entire big picture, I would have probably been so overwhelmed, I would have said, forget it. So I was fortunate to find a woman who was a fantastic franchise attorney, and she was able to help guide me through all of the legal side of things because it's a lot. I was teaching kids in the classroom, and then I was teaching other business owners to implement the business. So, that part I was comfortable in the teaching part, but there are a lot of things that come up that you never think about that you just kind of do automatically. And so it was kind of with each franchisee, I remembered, oh yeah, I gotta teach them that. And as you go, you refine your manuals and you refine your processes. So you don't have to have everything figured out at once. It really is a step-by-step process.
So what was the process from the time that you decided to start and franchise your business to the time that you were well into it's being a well-oiled machine and you were comfortable doing it? Was that a 2-year window, a 10-year window? What did that look like for you?
I would say it after we sold our first franchise, it was probably 2 years into it where I really felt like, I've got the process down, and as new franchisees came on board, it was much more of a well-oiled machine. So, I'd say, probably around the 2-year mark.
And so did you just attempt to do this yourself or did you hire like a franchise company that helps you franchise it and they have all other aspects of, I don't know, secrets or something along the way to make it easier?
Yeah, well, I actually did, contact some franchise consultants, and I was told my business was not franchisable, so I didn't use them. They didn't understand what I was doing, so, that didn't work out very well, but what I did was I went to every franchise convention I could find. I started taking courses, I read every book, and finding a really good franchise attorney, those things in combination, I really did it on my own. Then I joined the International Franchise Association and ultimately got my certified franchise executive credentials. And so I was just, kind of a sponge, just asking and anyone who would talk to me, asking them questions and just learning from any resource I could find.
That is brilliant. My goodness, wow. So can anybody franchise or do you have to have like some unique business or something that has not been done before?
I would say that there's two criteria. One, is your business successful locally? And two, can your business be replicated in another area and be successful without you? Then your business is franchisable. But if you're the type of business where you really need that particular owner in order for it to be successful somewhere else, then it's probably not franchisable.
Wow, that's really honest and candid, and I appreciate that. Thank you. So, what would you have to do if you were thinking about franchising your business? Are there certain steps that you would take as far beyond and before maybe doing a whole bunch of research and going to a bunch of conventions and doing all that stuff?
Mhm.
Are there things you could do right now to get your business ready? Say, let's 3 or 5 years down the road, you're going to go ahead and franchise then. Is there something you would do now to start that process?
Absolutely. Get your operations down on paper. That is the biggest thing. I could have started that sooner. Write down every procedure, everything that you do in your business, write it down. Anything that you feel would be important for someone else to duplicate somewhere else, write it down and get your standard operating procedures, get it all down on paper. That's a huge leg up. I actually, as a franchise consultant, help people franchise their business. So I walk people through the process, and I do a done with you service. So we do it together. And I help people through the feasibility study to getting all their documents and orders and all their operations down on paper.
So, if a business wanted to franchise, how early in the process should they contact you?
That's a really good question. It really depends on how well your operations are developed prior to contacting me. So I'm working with someone right now who had zero down on paper, and we're working through it. And we've been working together for a few months now. And it's probably going to be 2 to 3 more months before they're ready to actually start offering. So I would say a couple months, getting your operations down on paper, and then contact me. And then from there, anywhere between 3 to 6 months.
And when you say 3 to 6 months, what is that? Is that like on a retainer? Is that a per service basis? How does that work when someone hires you?
It is a retainer when I'm hired, and we work through different phases. The first stage, for example, is a feasibility. So basically, I just work with my clients to go through all the different areas of their business to find out, is your business really franchisable? Sometimes it is, and sometimes the answer is there's a lot more work to do. But I don't want someone to spend a whole bunch of money without that first stage of feasibility first. From there, once all of those big decisions are made and everything is down on paper, and you realize, yes, I do want to franchise my business, the next stage is going through your documents. There's a franchise disclosure document, there's a franchise agreement, there's brand standards and operations manuals. And so I help walk people through that. because the FTC has heavily regulated the franchising industry, and so I help people like walk them through all of those different items that they have to get through.
Well, this was absolutely fascinating. I learned so much in just a really short snippet. This was so cool. If somebody wanted to talk to you and figure out if their business is franchisable, how would they find you?
The best way is to visit my website, which is doristewart.com. And there is a place on the website where you can book a call with me.
Thank you. And I noticed that you also have a workbook on how to get started as a franchise. Is that something that our viewers could download?
Absolutely. There's a free guide on my website. So just visit doristewart.com and it's a free download.
That is so awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. I've learned so much and this was so helpful. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
All righty. That's it on consulting for franchising. And I hope you guys do give Dori a call if you are thinking about franchising your business, because this is absolutely fascinating. And I have no doubt she could put you on the right track. Until we meet again, leave the world a cleaner place than when you found it.